Good morning, friends. Mr. MP Narayanan, my colleagues, Dr. Shailesh Nayak, other dignitaries present here, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm going to talk about is essentially the Digital India program and how the geospatial technologies are going to play a very important role in that program. So as you know, when the new government came to power on 26th of May this year, after about 1.5 months, the Prime Minister announced Digital India program. And when he asked us as to why don't you formulate something which is going to take India to a new sort of level in the use of information and communication technologies, we had put together a number of projects, number of schemes, and then we presented before him. He said, no, this is not what I want. I want you to imagine a transformational way of doing things so that India becomes a digitally empowered society and a knowledge economy. And that should be the overall, vision of this Digital India program. And when we put together this program, I want to share some of that with you. So Digital India program has got 3 components. The first component is digital infrastructure. So digital infrastructure is absolutely necessary in order to take anything forward. And digital infrastructure is something like broadband access to every person in this country. Something like, digital software infrastructure. Secondly, we should put together a whole range of softwares and systems which will enable seamless interaction with a citizen in a very easy manner. So that's the second part of the Digital India program. And the third is, you must empower citizens so that they are able to access these programs using this digital infrastructure. So this is broadly the 3 components. And one of the important pillars of the Digital India program is, how do we leverage GIS technologies for a better decision support system, for better sort of development initiatives, and essentially better planning. So this is an extremely important part. I want to share with you what I have seen the application of GIS technology in the country. While GIS has become a daily part of our own existence in the sense that, when you start, you navigate through a map quest kind of program, a map navigator. You are geotagged everywhere you go. And you are able to do a lot of these things through crowdsourcing. Unfortunately, the use of these technologies in the government space has not been very great. We have had a lot of, every state is experimenting with the GIS technologies. Some states have gone very far. Like Gujarat, for example. I had visited Gujarat some months back. And I found that there, the state institution has, BISEC as they call it, Bhaskaracharya Institute of Spatial Technologies. That institution has done a great work in terms of, geotagging all the assets, basically drawing maps and all kinds of decision support systems. There are many states who have not really done much work. So much so that the basic program which we had started about 2-3 decades back of land records computerization and basically cadastral map making, that program is also at various stages in various states. So what is needed is really to bring all these states at the same level so that they are able to leverage these technologies. And this is the effort in which, this is the direction in which we are progressing. Unfortunately, whatever work has also been done is also not based on standards. See, in these in any technology field, especially in ICT, if you have systems which are developed in a very closed manner, which are not based on standards, which are not interoperable, which cannot talk to each other, then these systems become silos. Unfortunately, in the GIS technology, what has happened is some company, some firm has gone to the state, they have said that this is what I have to offer, and they have created some systems. Now, these systems or these particular applications, they do not talk to each other, and therefore they cannot be leveraged. So what is required is we must have a platform type of approach, a platform-based approach, on which we could put layers like you have in GIS, you have a number of layers, in the maps also you have number of layers of various kinds of facilities. Similarly, we need to have these systems as platforms which are interoperable and most importantly, which are based on standards so that we can expose open APIs, people could write applications on top of them, and therefore this becomes a very harmonious system, a system where every department can share and leverage. Unfortunately, these systems have thus far been, only the department, which is, for example, if I have purchased certain set of maps for doing my, water harvesting structure programming, that is not being used by some other, maybe a city planner and some other people, they have not been able to use it. So one is that we must come up with the standards, and I'm sure there are standards available, but we must come up with the standards which are able to create, systems and platforms where a large number of stakeholders can use. Secondly, I think we need to continuously educate these state governments because there are a large number of areas in which these technologies can be used. Some obvious ones are, municipal planning. You can have assets mapped out and you can really plan. Traffic planning, of course, smart cities. Mr. Venkataraman mentioned these smart cities as to how the GIS technologies and geotagging of assets and individuals is going to help plan better traffic, better roads, better lighting systems, etc. So that certainly is going to be there. The land records, for example, I come from a state, Jharkhand, and in my state, large number of law and order problems are being created because of non-maintenance of land records. One land is sold 6 times by the same guy, and the brokers have a heyday, and there are crimes galore because of this issue. If we can have, cadastral mapping done, tagging the ownership with those maps, and able to have better planning, this will really solve a number of problems. So if I am creating a road and I have to acquire land, I don't really have to do a physical ground level survey. If I have a cadastral map, I can straight away plot the road on the graph and figure out as to whose land, how much land, what kind of land is going to be acquired. So these are obvious applications. Unfortunately, as I always say, we have written the software codes for the world. The world is running their software systems on the code written by our bright boys and girls. But unfortunately, we have not, at least the governments have not used the technologies or the software systems which we have written for the world. We remain far behind. And actually, these technologies, which are digital technologies, are very, very useful, very cost-effective, very transparent, and therefore, one cannot overemphasize the fact that unless we use these technologies, we will always remain behind the curve. And our objective is to really bring everybody on board. I was mentioning to Mr. Narayan that we are calling a national workshop on GIS technologies on 20th of this month, where we will deliberate with the state secretaries, with the space application research centers, as to how we prepare a roadmap for the next couple of years so that we are able to use these technologies and integrate these technologies, make these technologies as a part of a whole overall Digital India program. Let me also share with you that thus far in many areas, we have looked at the West, we have looked at what has been done in the West, and therefore we kind of, replicate it, or we kind of try to do it in India. India is today, as my minister often calls, at the cusp of the digital revolution. And when I say so, it is not some kind of just publicity kind of thing which I am saying. We have created during the last 6-7 years a whole range of products and infrastructures whose benefits are now going to be reaped. So for example, we have created a digital identity infrastructure in this country, Aadhaar. And this digital infrastructure is now available to 750 million people of our country. This digital identity is unique, is lifelong, is digitally authenticable. That means you can go anywhere and prove that you are who you claim to be. This is one part. Similarly, India has got 900 million mobile phones. And each of these mobile phones can become a powerful instrument of service delivery, a powerful instrument of digital identity, so that you are able to do transactions with the help of the mobile. India, during the last 3 months alone, has created 135 million bank accounts, which means that everybody is now able to participate in the financial space. So you have 3 empowering numbers: Aadhaar for identity, mobile for connectivity, and bank account for financial inclusion. And these 3 numbers of empowerment are able to create a whole range of products. So for example, we are talking about a digital signature which does not require any kind of, dongle or any token. Currently, you must have seen that when you file your income tax returns, you essentially, file these returns online, and then you take a printout and sign that, so that's to prove that you are the one who has filed these returns. When I apply for a scholarship, I apply online, but then I, take a printout and sign it so that the authorities know that I have signed it. Now with the digital identity infrastructure, we are creating a digital signature infrastructure in which everybody with a digital identity will be able to sign document without any kind of tokens. So this is one part. We are also creating digital lockers for the citizens so that they will be able to put their certificates digitally signed by them and will be able to seamlessly share with everybody, with all the stakeholders if they want to. Suppose I am applying for a job and I don't need to physically submit all my high school certificates or academic certificates or professional certificates. I can just, share these things seamlessly in a digital manner. And these certificates are digitally signed by me. So essentially, this kind of infrastructure, this kind of leapfrogging is not possible anywhere in the world because no country in the world has such digital infrastructure, which is so valuable. So essentially, we are not thinking of just following the West, just following certain well-established things. We are sort of going ahead and we are leapfrogging. And Digital India is a program which is going to integrate everything into this situation where our country will truly become a digitally empowered nation. So I think we are at a very, very exciting time. And what we need to do is the areas where the states have not taken advantage of, we need to really educate them. But educate them in a manner, many times vendors educate these states. And when a vendor educates, and unfortunately there are many vendors who educate them in a manner to sell their products. And once selling is your motivation, then you start distorting facts and truths, and you are able to sell a solution which creates another silo. And it's very easy to demolish the physical silos. It's even more difficult to demolish a digital silo, believe me. So therefore, what is required is all of us must work in a manner that we are going to create, and everybody will benefit. It's not as if this system is going to be created by government. This system, the private sector people, the public-private partnership, the vendors, the technology creators, the innovators, everybody is going to have a stake in it. But we must play this game in such a manner that we are able to build an infrastructure which the entire country can use, the entire country can share, and which gives the best value for a buck. And I think conferences like this, and I have been an admirer of Mr. Narayanan since last 10, 15 years, sir, and wherever you asked me, I have been participating in your conference. I have been believing, and I believe that interactions like this, conferences like this, generate a whole lot of debate and are able to, the lot of good materials gets filtered out of these conferences, and that becomes a very great input for our decision making. And what you are doing is a great work, sir. I once again want to congratulate you. I also want to thank you for providing me this opportunity to speak with you. Thank you very much.